Okay, everybody, I'm live. My voice is gone. Here, let me fix the camera just a little bit. Hopefully that helps. Oh, there we go. Okay, I have my earbuds in so you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me okay. What I thought I would do today is show you guys how I make my keto, low carb, sugar-free, gluten-free, amazing, delicious, sweet waffles, okay? The reason why I'm sharing this is because I've had so many friends and family that used to purchase them from me that live in Chandler. I'm no longer there. I'm here in Arizona, in Chandler. And now I am in Hillsboro, Oregon. So I thought that I would start sharing with you guys some recipes live that I'm going to be putting in my beginner's low carb meal planning guide. Sorry for my voice, you guys. So I already have about 100 recipes in there. It is over 50 pages of information of things that I wish I knew when I started low carb, okay? So about 6 or 7 years ago, if you guys don't know my story yet, I had stomach issues and I kept getting sick with all these different foods and I didn't know what was going on. I started getting super bloated and I'm getting older and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening in my body. And then I also had some family members that were diabetic. I have a lot of family members that are diabetic and have had complications with type 2 diabetes. So while I was learning, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to a nutritionist and see what's wrong with, what am I allergic to or whatever. And then I thought, no, you know what, I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to research this for myself. So I started getting some books and started reading. And I thought, you know what, the best thing to do is just start journaling what I eat every day and then how I felt. So I would put a happy face if I felt good that night and the next morning. I would put a sad face if I didn't feel well. And then I'd put like a straight line face if it was just like, I'm not quite sure about this. What happened is I ended up learning to eat lower carb. When I started eating lower carb, I started losing the weight in my waist. I started feeling better. I started sleeping better. My skin got better. And I just felt better overall. I had more energy. And so I thought, I didn't know it was called the low carb diet back then, but then after a while, I figured it out. So what I started doing is started writing recipes, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take my family favorite meals. I had like 300 recipes that I used to make for my kids when they were growing up, and I'm going to see which ones I can do, which ones I could take and make them healthier. And so with that, I have recreated tons of recipes. Now, mind you, there are thousands and billions probably of recipes online. I've tried so many of them. So many have ended up in the trash. And then some of them were like, this is okay, but maybe I could reinvent this to taste better. Now, that's what happened with my low carb waffles. What happened was everybody kept saying, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, they're like, chaffles are the thing. They're cheese and egg waffles. There's no carbs. They're keto. They're low carb. And I tried them and they tasted like crap. I'm like, oh my God, these are disgusting. I don't want to put syrup on something that tastes like cheese and egg. That's just so gross. So I thought a few years ago, I was coaching some clients, and one of my clients, she texted me and she said, Eliza, if you don't show me something I can eat that's sweet, I'm just going to die. I'm typically one that likes salty things, so I kind of stayed away from that. Oh, hi, Bree. My daughter just got home. I usually stay away from, I don't eat that many sweet things, but then I do crave them once in a while. I also do get tired of eating eggs and omelets in the morning. So I thought, man, I need to just reinvent this waffle. So what I did was I took the cheese and egg waffle and I thought, you know what? This thing is flimsy and it was just like an egg. It was gross. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go look at other recipes online, and I saw that somebody put like a tablespoon of almond flour in it, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll try this. So I started testing out my skills in the kitchen, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to add more of this, less of that. I'm going to add some vanilla to make it taste more like a waffle. And I started thinking about, I want the texture better. I want, all these different things. And so I kept messing around with it. I came up with my sugar-free waffle. People love them. I love them. What's great about them is that you could freeze them, and the best thing to do is to take them and put them in the freezer, let them freeze overnight, and then when you toast them in the toaster, they end up being a little bit more crispier, because that was another issue, is that the waffles were not crispy. So just keep in mind that when you do make these the first time and you put them in the toaster for the first time, if you're making them fresh, they're not going to be as crispy, but they're still going to taste pretty good, okay? So I'm going to give you tips and tricks along the way of what I do. And remember, I'm creating a low-carb meal planning guide, and I'm going to try to remember to put all these tips and tricks in that guide, everything that I could think of, okay? So when making these waffles, I usually, because I make them in huge batches, I get this Dash waffle iron that is 4 up. There's 4 different little sections in here. I get it on Amazon, and that helps the time go by faster, especially if you have a family. You can get them for like 10 or 12 bucks on Amazon or Walmart or Target, or all those different places. That is one if you're just making 1 or 2. I am going to give you guys my recipe for a dozen. Okay, I usually sell them by the dozen, and I feel it's great because you could eat 2 or 3 for breakfast and put the rest in the freezer. And in the morning when we're hungry for breakfast, we just take them out, put them in the toaster. I heat up my syrup, sugar-free syrup, or sugar-free jam. That's another trick. Sugar-free jam is really good. Just heat it in the microwave for like 30 seconds and pour it over it with some butter. You guys, these are amazing. I'm telling you, they're amazing. So I'm going to start off with my bowl. I usually end up with a trash bowl. This helps for cleanup. And I know Rachel Ray, she sells extra bowls, calling them a trash bowl. But you guys, I just use another extra bowl that I have, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put eggs into my bowl. Again, I'm making enough for a dozen. And I will have the recipe for you guys afterward. And I'm going to put the recipe into my meal plan guide and cookbook, okay? So to me, I don't care if the eggs are cold or if they're at room temperature. Let me get my little towel over here. Here's my little towel. I've just done it either way. It doesn't matter. Now, these are the same waffles I use to make my waffle cakes. I'm still debating whether I'm going to put the waffle cake recipe in there or not, but for the waffles, the reason why I decided to give you guys my secret recipe, and I don't think there's an exact recipe like this out there, is because I want you to succeed. I want to give you guys actual tools that are going to help you stick with your meal planning goals, with your diet, with eating healthier. And these ingredients are really clean ingredients, so they're considered keto. In my guide, I'm going to show you the difference between keto and low carb and gluten-free. I was confused. Oh my goodness. If you go way back in my post, one of my very first posts, I made gluten-free pasta by hand, which I may make for you guys again someday. I haven't made it in years, but there is a difference. There's still a lot of carbs in gluten-free stuff, so you got to really watch for that. So I have eggs in here. I have some baking powder and what is this? Oh, cinnamon. So baking powder and cinnamon. And again, I'll give you guys the exact recipes later, okay? I have some vanilla and I have, and oh, I don't care. I just dump everything in here, okay? I have almond flour. Now, my trick with almond flour is in the beginning, again, I'm going to tell you things that I made mistakes on. There's almond flour, there's like blanched almond flour, and then there's almond meal. Do not use almond meal. It tastes gross. It's just like really grainy and disgusting in this recipe, okay? So I have almond flour, and it is not one for one with traditional flour. Do not use, like, if you use 1 cup of flour in muffins and then you use a cup of flour of almond flour, it's not the same. Baking with almond flour and these ingredients are way different. So I'm going to just show you what I've learned, or just give you my recipes, and hopefully you can adapt them to make them what you guys love, okay? So there's my almond flour. And then my trick on the cheese. So cheese is great for 2 things. I have mozzarella cheese. What I do, two things. One is I get the prepackaged one. First is because it saves me on time. Secondly, it does have like cornstarch or something in it to help keep the granules separated so that they don't get packed in together. And I honestly think that helps in my recipe to help bind the waffles together so they're just not, just not falling apart and all flaky. So I use the grated mozzarella cheese. You could get the cheap cheese. Another thing about the cheese is I buy them and I throw them in the freezer. You could actually freeze the cheese, take them out the night before, put them in the fridge, and then you can use it that morning, okay? The last thing I'd like to tell you about the mozzarella cheese is that it doesn't matter if you get the regular or the finely grated. I like the finely grated only because it cooks more evenly. You'll notice with the regular, it doesn't change the taste. I haven't noticed a change in the taste, but it browns more evenly. With the thicker grated cheese, you'll see little specks of darker brown. I don't care. They all taste the same. So anyway, here's mozzarella cheese, okay? And then here I have sweetener. You guys can use some sugar-free granulated sweetener of choice. And I have this in here. You can use Swerve, you can use erythritol, you can use monk fruit, whatever you guys like. And everybody's a little bit different. Because I didn't like sweets very much, I didn't like anything with any kind of sweeteners. Everybody's different. When you're on Optionz with Eliza, you're going to see that I use different kinds of sweeteners in my products. I'm not 100% keto. I do make some recipes that are keto, but I consider myself low carb, okay? Now, I am going to show you one last thing. I have found, because I like to try to cover the flavor of the sweetener and that cooling effect, I really think that when I started in the beginning 6 or 7 years ago to now, I think they might have made the sweeteners taste better. I don't know if they've changed the recipe or if my tongue just got adjusted or acclimated to the flavor or the taste of it. But to me, it tastes a little bit better than they used to years ago. Alyssa and I love peanut butter waffles. So this does help cover the flavor a little bit. And what we use is the PB Fit powder. So I'm going to throw that in there. And it does make your waffles a little bit thicker, a little bit firmer. That's fine. So I'm just going to stir it up. I use this rubber spatula from Pampered Chef. Again, I'm not getting paid by anybody for naming all these brand names and products and all of this. I just want to show you guys what I do to help make life easier, less stressful, and more pleasurable in the kitchen for me. And if you want to know how I've been able to, I initially lost 25 pounds, but realized that it was way too thin for me. So I'm up a few more pounds. I'm 130 pounds. I am 53 years old. I'm past menopause. I am and I don't work out all the time. And so I don't work out at all. Okay. I do once in a while. And since I moved to Oregon, I haven't been walking. When I lived in Chandler, Arizona, I was able to walk every day. And here, obviously, just with the first storm, my voice is gone. So anyway, if you guys are just joining, I'm Eliza, Options with Eliza. I am the founder of this group, and I've decided to put together a guide that will help beginners or those of you that have not been able to stick to eating healthier for the long term. And I'm planning on putting over 100 recipes in this cookbook. And then I'm planning on maybe I should go live once a week and give you guys some tips and tricks and maybe some recipes that are in the cookbook, okay? So this is my batter. Have it nice and good. And look, all my trash in one bowl. Okay, so let me put these dishes away because it makes me crazy. Okay. So what I do is, again, I love Pampered Chef products because when I bought some of these cookie scoops, they're like those baking scoops online, and when I paid less for them, trying to save some money, I bought like 6 of them one time. They get rusty. The little squeaker thing doesn't work right. So I've learned that if I just get nice products, that you won't have to keep rebuying them over and over again. So this one is considered a 3 tablespoon one, okay? Hi, Bree. She's leaving again. She's running around while I'm working my little booty off in the kitchen. So this is a 3 tablespoon scoop, and this is the size that I use for each one of these waffles, okay? And I will get some oil spray. I have this preheated, and I'm talking a lot. You guys, this only takes a few minutes to make. I'm just doing this so that I can help give you tips and tricks on how to be successful in the kitchen, how to create the lifestyle that you love. And this is something my grandkids love. They're 2 and 5 years old. Adults love these. I have not had one person not like these waffles, okay? So I just do a quick little spray. And, another thing too is time them. My time, you might be off, I'm just gonna wash a couple dishes or whatever, and then they're burnt or they're too crispy or you open it too soon, all of that. So each one of these waffle makers, even though there's not a temperature guide on them, each one cooks a little bit differently. I make these waffles and I'll cook them from 1 minute and 11 seconds all the way to 2 minutes. So you guys test your waffle maker and make it according to what you like, okay? So I'm going to test these. I'm going to test it at 1.5 minutes because this is the first one. They might cook a little more quickly. Let me think. What else was I going to say? So yeah, let me do that. I'm going to do 1.5 minutes. See if sometimes I'll just say, I'm going to put it down a little bit more. Last thing. Do not open this and do not open the little tiny one anytime before like a minute. If you open it before a minute and the cheese and everything hasn't combined all together, they'll open up and make into a huge mess. It'll be like a cheesy mess. So at least keep it closed a minimum of a minute, but I do 1 minute and 11 seconds. Don't ask me why. All the way to 2 minutes. But you guys can go even longer than that if that's what you want, okay? So let me put these in. I'm just gonna squeeze these in here. And again, sorry for my voice, but I really wanted to get going on this and give you guys some tools to be successful. So let me time it. Okay, so I'm timing it for 1 minute and 30 seconds, okay? Now, how I take them off, I usually cool them on a cookie baking sheet. And because there's 12 fits on here perfectly. And I love that. I like things that are organized and make sense. I use a fork to release them. So when I take them out so I don't burn my hands, I'll kind of stab them in until I hit one of the grates, lift it up, and then set it down. You'll see that in just a second. So what I use for these waffles, you can have bacon and eggs on the side. You can eat them plain. You can just have these waffles and put some, like I said, butter and sugar-free maple syrup on it. Or Walden Farms has different sugar-free, gluten-free, or I think sugar-free. I don't remember. I don't get Walden Farms I don't get it myself, but I know other people like it. So you could get Walden Farms syrups. There's a lot of sugar-free syrups that you could get online in the grocery store. I prefer to get sugar-free maple syrup and sugar-free jams. And then the jams, I'll just put either one of them in one of these little measuring cups, put it in the microwave. Oh, here, let's get these out. I'll get back to that in just a second. Okay. See there? Look at how beautiful that is. And yes, I'm burning my little hands off for you guys. Let's get these babies on here. Guys, I was so sick last week. I had no voice whatsoever. I was hoping I wouldn't cough today. So a minute and a half looked good to me. So I'm just going to put another batch. So this is going to be 3 batches. I have 3 waffle makers. So usually I'll put all 3 of them out and they'd all be done right now. Isn't that quick? Okay. Okay, another minute and a half. Okay, so I get like a couple of tablespoons of sugar-free jam. I'll put it in here, put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. By the time the toaster's popped up, put my butter on my waffles, pour this over, eat it. I would say maybe 3 minutes and you have breakfast made. Kids absolutely love these. I will get them and I'll cut them in little dices, put them in a bento box, put a little thing of syrup on the side so they could dip them themselves, and put some blueberries and strawberries with it, and the kids love it. In fact, I even scramble eggs on the side, or I'll get sausage links. They like anything that they could dip. They'll dip the sausage links in the sugar-free syrup, and it's wonderful, wonderful breakfast. Let's see. And then also, yeah, I like the sugar-free syrup, okay? Okay, so enough about that. Now, when you guys are freezing these, I freeze them in 2. My daughter likes 3 for breakfast. I like 2. So you could freeze them in little freezer bags, but make sure they're in freezer bags. The best thing to do is put them in little freezer bags in serving sizes, and then put them in one big freezer bag and throw it in the freezer. Okay, I got 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's check these babies out. Perfection. Oh my gosh, these are so good. So I started putting peanut butter in them because it's covered up the sweetener taste even a little bit more. Okay, last batch, and then you guys won't have to hear me blabbing and talking away. Until next time. What I'll do is I'll probably save this video and put it on my website. I will give you guys a link to upload your email address and just give me a little bit of information about you, because sometimes I do giveaways and stuff, and so I'll do giveaways for those people who have given me their information. Once again. Help. Let me start this over 1 second. Oh, there we go. I put cook time. So I'll give you guys my website or my link to upload your email address and your information. And that way I will send you the recipe for these waffles that I made today. And then when I release my my guide, I will give it to you for free, okay? If you're on my low carb website blog. Yeah, so I'll upload your information to my blog. I'll email you guys the recipe for these, but then I'll also let everybody know when my guide is ready, okay? So anyway, that's the last of those. I hope you guys enjoyed our waffle making. Look at how beautiful these are. And I look forward to talking to you guys in the near future. I love you guys. Thank you for being a part of Options with Eliza. And here we go, over and out. Let me see if I can finish this.